He humiliated her celebrating his divorce win, until his father-in-law entered the courtroom. The courtroom was unusually loud for a place meant for quiet decisions. Whispers spread across the wooden benches as people waited for the judge to return. Lawyers shuffled papers, reporters adjusted their cameras, and a few spectators leaned forward, sensing drama. But the loudest sound in the room came from one man. Ryan Carter. He leaned back confidently in his chair at the front of the courtroom, one arm resting over the backrest like he owned the place. His expensive suit looked freshly tailored, his smile smug and satisfied. Beside him, his lawyer chuckled quietly as Ryan whispered something that made the two men laugh. Across the aisle sat Emma Carter. She looked nothing like the woman Ryan had married 8 years earlier. Her shoulders were tense, her hands rested quietly in her lap, fingers intertwined tightly as if holding herself together. Her dress was simple, no jewelry, no expression of victory, only quiet exhaustion. The divorce hearing had lasted months, filled with accusations, documents, arguments, and long emotional testimonies. But today was the final decision, and Ryan already believed he had won. "Relax," he said loudly enough for several people to hear, glancing toward Emma with a mocking smile. "You'll be fine. Maybe this will teach you not to aim above your league next time." A few people nearby exchanged uncomfortable looks. Emma didn't respond. She kept her gaze down, focusing on the polished wooden floor. Ryan leaned forward again, whispering loudly to his lawyer. "You know what the best part is." "What?" Ryan smirked. "I'm celebrating tonight." The lawyer raised an eyebrow. "Celebrating? Oh yeah," Ryan said proudly. "Freedom." He laughed again. Emma's fingers tightened slightly in her lap, but she still didn't look up. Behind her, a few people in the gallery shifted uncomfortably. Everyone could see what was happening. And everyone knew humiliation when they saw it. But Emma stayed silent. She had learned something during the long months of this battle. Some people didn't deserve her energy. The courtroom doors opened suddenly. A clerk stepped in. "All rise." The room immediately stood as the judge entered. The murmurs faded into silence. The judge settled into her seat and reviewed a stack of documents. "This court has carefully reviewed the financial records, property claims, and testimony provided by both parties," she began calmly. Ryan straightened slightly, confidence written across his face. Emma remained still. The judge continued. "Before I finalize the decision, the court has received a late request for testimony." Ryan frowned. "A witness has requested permission to speak." His lawyer leaned toward him. "That's strange." Ryan shrugged. "Probably nothing." The judge looked toward the courtroom doors. "Bring him in." The doors opened slowly, and the room changed. An older man stepped inside. Tall, distinguished. His silver hair was neatly combed, his dark coat tailored with quiet elegance. The moment he entered, several people in the courtroom gasped softly. Even Ryan's lawyer suddenly sat up straighter. Ryan blinked, then frowned. "What the?" Emma slowly lifted her eyes. The moment she saw him, her breath caught. "Dad." The man walked calmly toward the witness stand. His name was Charles Whitmore. And nearly everyone in the courtroom recognized him. A self-made billionaire, philanthropist, founder of Whitmore Holdings, one of the most respected businessmen in the country. Ryan's confidence began to fade. "Wait," he muttered quietly. "That's your father." Emma nodded faintly. Ryan stared at her. "You never said your father was Charles Whitmore." Emma's voice was quiet. "You never asked." Charles Whitmore stepped into the witness box and raised his hand to take the oath. The judge looked at him carefully. "Mr. Whitmore, what is your relation to the defendant?" Charles turned his calm eyes toward Emma. "I'm her father." Ryan shifted in his seat. His lawyer suddenly looked much less relaxed. Charles continued. "I have been traveling overseas for the past several months and was unaware of the details of this case until yesterday." The courtroom remained silent. After reviewing the documents, Charles said calmly, "I felt it was important that the court hear a few additional facts." Ryan leaned toward his lawyer. "This doesn't matter," he whispered. But his voice no longer sounded confident. The judge nodded. "You may proceed." Charles turned slightly toward Ryan. His gaze wasn't angry, but it was steady. "Ryan Carter married my daughter 8 years ago." Ryan swallowed. "At the time," Charles continued, "Emma insisted that our family wealth remain private. Several people in the courtroom exchanged surprised glances. She wanted to build a life based on love, not money. Emma's eyes lowered again. Ryan stared at her in disbelief. Charles continued speaking calmly. So when Ryan asked about Emma's background, she told him only that her family lived comfortably. Ryan's jaw tightened. I believed, Charles said, that if a man loved my daughter, he would value her character more than her bank account. The room was completely silent now. Charles reached into his coat pocket and removed a folder. However, he said quietly, recent events have shown me that character matters more than ever. He handed the folder to the clerk, who passed it to the judge. These documents show that during the marriage, Emma contributed significantly to Ryan's business. Ryan's lawyer immediately leaned forward. What? Charles continued. She invested her own savings to help launch his company. Ryan shifted uncomfortably. The judge began flipping through the papers. Charles's voice remained calm. She also declined financial assistance from our family to ensure Ryan could feel proud of building something himself. Emma blinked slowly, remembering those early years. The late nights, the sacrifices, the belief she had in Ryan. Charles continued, but after reviewing the financial records, I discovered something interesting. Ryan's hands tightened on the edge of the table. Ryan's company experienced rapid growth shortly after those investments. Charles paused. Investments that Emma never asked to be repaid. The courtroom murmured softly. Ryan's lawyer flipped through the documents quickly. The judge looked up. These records confirm that Mrs. Carter invested nearly $2 million into the company during its early stages. Ryan's eyes widened. That's not. But he stopped. Because he knew it was true. Emma had never mentioned the money. Not once. Charles turned slightly toward his daughter. She believed in her husband. Emma looked down again, emotion filling her eyes. The judge continued reviewing the paperwork. Charles spoke once more. My daughter never asked for recognition. He glanced toward Ryan. But she certainly never deserved humiliation. Ryan looked away. For the first time that day, the smug smile had disappeared. The judge placed the documents down carefully. Based on this new evidence, she said firmly, the court will need to reconsider the financial settlement. Ryan's lawyer leaned toward him urgently. This changes everything. Ryan stared at the table. Across the aisle, Emma remained quiet. Charles stepped down from the witness stand and walked slowly toward her. When he reached her side, he placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You did more than anyone realized, he said softly. Emma's voice trembled slightly. I didn't want it to be about money. Charles nodded. I know. Ryan watched the moment unfold. And something inside him finally shifted. For the first time, he wasn't thinking about winning. He was thinking about everything he had lost. The courtroom remained silent as the judge prepared to continue the hearing. But the atmosphere had completely changed. What had started as a celebration of victory was now something very different. And Ryan Carter finally understood that some battles revealed far more than they settled.